Welcome back, everybody, to the newest episode of the Penn Podcast. We are officially in season three, episode one, after a significant break. And I could not think of a better person to have as our first guest for the new season than the one and only Tony Mack. How are you, Tony?
Man, I am good. I'm blessed. I'm excited. Just having fun, man.
I was looking forward to this. It's been a rough couple weeks of work, and if there was anyone I was going to kick off this podcast with, it would one, your personality, the fun that we can have, and two, you just got your advanced reading copy of your new book.
Yes, I'm
So
excited.
I feel like this was meant to be for today.
100%. Everything's falling in place.
Absolutely. So, for those who don't know, and you'll find out, Tony and I worked together a little bit on his book, but that is not really the point of this. Tony is an incredible inspiration in terms of what he's accomplished long before he ever decided to write the book. So, Tony, if you'd be so kind, give everyone just a little background on yourself and how you got to where you are today and what led up to wanting to write a book.
Okay, I am from Dallas, Texas, Pleasant Grove area, raised by a single father, trouble kid, getting in trouble, fell in school, not having no direction, but things changed when I moved to Plano, Texas. And that's when my life started to change and got around a great environment, ended up being homecoming king, ended up being class president after all the troubles and failing I've done in school. When I moved to Plano West, everything just fell in place. And then later finding boxing at the age of 20 years old. And then that's when things started to really change.
So, you're being pretty modest there, so I'm going to help you fill in some of the details. For those who don't know, kind of like myself when we went through this, what's the significant difference between going from Pleasant Grove to Plano West?
Man, Pleasant Grove is the predominantly black neighborhood. You could say the hood. We call it the Dirty Grove. It's regularly featured on First 48. Even though I lived in a rough part, but that I was raised by a single father. I wasn't raised in nothing like that. My father always did the best he could do to make sure I was okay. My father put me in a great situation, but the everything just changed it. It was just in the hood. My pops hung around the pimps and hustlers and all this stuff. I grew up around it, but my pops, he wasn't nothing like that. He was just a hustler, a man that just lived by respect and honor. And but I was around it, but he made sure I stayed away from it. He made sure I had the fear of God in me. He made sure his sisters helped raise me. My mother wasn't around much, but you know, my father took care of me really well, and like my friends outside of my household, they was the ones in gangs. They was the ones getting murdered. They was the ones in and out of prison, and I could have adapted to their life like many of my family members did, or anybody else. But God had plans for me, and luckily one of my aunts moved to Plano in the Plano area, and I knew my life was going to be going down that wrong path if I did not make a change. And so somehow God allowed me to move to Plano, and that's when I got around a good environment. And then I got around kids that wasn't thugging, kids that wasn't, all about that thug life. Because that's all they had in Pleasant Grove. That's all we knew was to fight, steal cars, break into houses. That was fun to us. But I got to Plano West, kids actually went to school. Kids actually wanted to go to college. Kids actually wanted to do the right thing. And I love that lifestyle. It was from going from Pleasant Grove to basically the Beverly Hills of Dallas, Texas, and it was like me just um, just living my dream, man. I took full advantage of it, man. I ran for class president. I ran homecoming king. I got nominated for so many things. I graduated high school. Life just went really well once I saw another part of life that I always wanted to be a part of.
And I that's one of your my favorite parts of your story, and I just really feel the need to stress, and I want you to speak just a little bit because I know there's someone out there listening who's thinking, "Oh, that's great. He got an opportunity, so that's why he was able to get to where he's gotten in life." Tony, were you the only one who had the kind of opportunity that you
No,
did?
my family was a God-fearing family. Even though, we was raised in a predominantly black neighborhood or in the hood and stuff like that, my grandmother was a God-fearing woman. She made sure we had the fear of God. She made sure that we all went to school. She made sure that my family was well put together. But some family members just got around the wrong crowd, and some of my family even had the same opportunity to move to Plano with me, and they decided, you know what, they want to live the hood life, they want to live the thug life, and they end up not taking advantage of the full opportunity. End up going to prison. One of my cousins in prison for 60 years. One of my cousins just got out of prison for doing 10 years. One of my cousins got life in prison, and we all grew up in the same environment. But life is all about a choice. You choose what life you want to go. You choose the direction you want to go, and God bless me to have fear, I guess. God bless me to have a mind. God bless me to know that I didn't want that lifestyle because we're only on this life on this earth one time, man. And I just want to get the best out of it. And of course I made some mistakes, of course, that I did some things that I'm not proud of, but God had his hands on me. God had the favor on me. And he put people in my life for so I could see the big future that he had planned for me. Even though when I didn't see it, God put the people in my life to see, Tony, you're better than this, you're bigger than this, you have an opportunity, and I took advantage of it.
And you know what? That's perfect segue because we spoke a lot about where you could have wound up, the roads other people went down instead of walking through that open door, as they say. Where are you today for anyone who may not be familiar with Tony Mack?
Man, like I said, I started boxing at the age of 20 years old. Most people start boxing very, very young. I started late, but I knew that boxing was something I wanted to do. I knew that boxing gave me purpose, gave me discipline I needed, gave me structure that I needed. It gave me the consistency of life that I need, and I just stuck with it. And so, say for instance, say for example, I'm 20 years old. I dedicated my entire 20s to boxing. So, as an amateur fighter, I ended up making a USA national team. I was ranked number three in the nation from only 3, 4 years of boxing. Ended up making a World Series of boxing team. Fought in the Olympic trials. I turned professional at the age of 27, ended up putting up a record of 13 wins, one draw, one loss, and then I was forced into retirement at the age of 30. And then after that, that's when I went into business in 2016. I retired in 2015, and in 2016, I opened up my own gym, and then the gym was the gateway to all the other opportunities. I train elite athletes. I am the head coach of this new professional boxing league called TCL, Team Combat League. Also, I promote my own fights, and now I'm an author. And just I'm an overall entrepreneur because I have so many so many different businesses I'm working on and so many opportunities just coming my way. So entrepreneurship, but everything is through boxing. Boxing was my path to everything.
Yeah, so I would love for our listeners because I know a lot of my audience are writers or people who are in the writing world, but anyone in the writing world, like we go to books for knowledge, we go to books for inspiration, for motivation, showing us that if someone else could walk a certain path, then somebody else who's come from a background that maybe we haven't, that we have opportunity as well. And what I just heard from everything you said is the overcoming the odds, right? How many people start a sports career in any sport at 20 and get to go pro? How many people start a business and succeed? How
At 30 years old, after being in special education my entire life, after man, fell in school, I failed first grade multiple times. It took me years to learn how to to learn how to learn the right way. And the key is not giving up, man. The key is holding on to hope. The key is getting around the right people. The key is getting mentors, and the key is being a lifelong learner, and you will succeed.
Man, I love that holding on to hope and lifelong learner. Because I can't imagine failing first grade multiple times, right? And now here you are. People are like, okay, that makes sense. He's going to become a boxer. But to pivot that into where, right? Let me back up because I think a lot of people they put the athlete on the pedestal, right?
Hmm.
Like, oh, because you're a professional athlete, you're going to make all this money. No one ever thinks of the short side of it, right? Like, what if my career abruptly comes to an end?
Yeah, I really didn't make money when I was boxing. The most I made on this fight was like $4,000. I literally fought my way to the top, and right when I was about to start making money, that's when my retina detached, and I had no direction. I had to literally start from the beginning, and I had to literally use all the discipline that boxing taught me, all the all the disciplines, all the structure, all the everything I went through. I turned into business. I turned my fight into business. I took my fight to business, and I used all of that and started my business. And now I'm having more success as a businessman than I ever had as a boxing financially wise because I literally had no other place to go. I could have after I retired, I could have turned back to the streets. I could have went to go work a regular job. I didn't have no I only have an associate degree. It took me 6 years to get that. So I struggled. I struggled, but God put boxing in my life. Like I said, boxing found me. Like um like I didn't find boxing. Literally, boxing found me. Like the boxing gods literally knew that I was going to serve through boxing, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm serving through boxing. I'm helping. I'm mentoring so many kids, mentoring so many athletes. I'm mentoring so many of my. I got my business. I got 9 coaches under me. I have so many business partners that I'm mentoring. They look for me for answers, and I'm like, who me? This kid that couldn't read or write. This kid that failed first grade and had to. I was so far behind in first grade they have to put me back in 5th grade just to get me in my right grade when I moved to Chicago, just to get put back in my right grade. Literally, boxing saved more lives than it take. Of course, you could think that I had all the money in the world. You could think that I was a pro athlete. I really wasn't. I was just a guy just grinding it out to figure out what I was going to do in this life that God gave us. So, yeah.
And since we've covered it here, I have to constantly remind myself, since we worked together for so long, what I know that the listener doesn't know. But when you say boxing found you, that was another one of those kind of Plano moments, right? Where
Yeah.
it it just
Yeah,
the door
I
was
once I graduated high school, I was living with my aunt and we was in a condo and I was like, man, I can't live with her forever. Or I could even like either I moved back to Pleasant Grove with my father. And so I didn't want to do any of those. So I went to the Collin County apartments and I applied for a job and I ended up getting a job and then I had to pick up trash every day for free rent. I picked up trash for free rent. I had to keep the apartments furnished. And me doing that job, I had to, it was this one guy, he needed his apartments furnished. His name was Brandon Singleton, and he was in great shape. And I said, I was like, man, what do you do? He was like, I box. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I never met a boxer, never hung out with a boxer. I never thought nothing of it. And then one day he invited me to the gym with him because I was working out in the fitness facility. I worked at the college fitness facility too as another job because I had no direction. So he saw me working out and he was like, man, you want a real workout? Come train with me, and he took me to a boxing gym. And at the age of 20, I fell in love with it right there, man. Gus Samuelson, the coach, was like, man, I did the workout, I almost died. He was like, man, if you keep this up, you might could be a good boxer. I was like, really? I could box? I was like, he's like, yeah. And I just kept showing up to the gym. 3 months later, I had my first amateur fight, and that's the rest is history.
you hit on those two things: being aware of the opportunity, right? Not saying no to things, and putting in the work, showing up every single day.
100%. You're right.
Um, the other thing I kind of want to touch on is boxing is viewed kind of as a solo sport, right? Because
Hmm.
you don't have a team behind you. You got no one else you can blame when you get in that ring. It's you and the other guy. But talk a little bit about kind of the support systems you found throughout your journey in boxing and business and how that's helped you get to where you are. Because I know too many people.
Mentorship, man. Mentorship helped me believe in myself when I didn't. believe. It helped me see the future when I didn't see the future. God put so many people in my life. Boxing is definitely not a solo sport. You have your coaches, you have your spar partners. You build a community. The boxing community is small, and you're not alone. You know, man, you're fighting for your team, you're fighting for your coaches. Of course, you're in there by yourself, but you got to be able to follow instructions. You got to be able to listen to your coach. You got to be able to listen to your team. You got to remember all that hard work you put in sparring and training with your training partners. And and when it comes to business, it's the same thing. You know, I had a few business mentors that helped me out when I first start. Nathan Pivotone, one of my first real mentors. He um he was my manager when I was boxing, and he helped me understand that boxing is not a long sport. You know, it can end any moment. He said, "What's next?" He always made me think about what's next. What's next? You should need because it can end any moment. And right when I'm thinking I was going to end my career in my late 30s, I end up ending my career late 20s, early 30s. You know, and then that's when I pivoted into business. And then, you know, by him being my mentor and him being my manager, you know, one day I walked to him, I was like, man, I really think I can own my own gym. Because I was looking at other trainers, train fighters. I was looking at other people do business and they wasn't doing it the right way I felt. I was like, man, I think I could do something. And he said, if you're serious, go get an LLC. I was like, what's an LLC? And I did my research and I went to get an LLC. I asked my friends and family what should I name my gym. And then God just put the right people in my life to where the location came in place. The partners came in place. Everything just came into place into where 10 years later, I opened a gym in 2016. Right now it's about to be it's 2025 and the gym is growing to a whole nother level because of opportunities. You know, I'm listening to my mentors because I had the right people around me. I had nobody who didn't it wasn't all about taking from it. They wanted to give and now I get to give back.
You know what I just took away from that for the first time? I don't think I even made the connection in all the time we were working together. Is you didn't wait for everything to be perfect, right? You made
Mm.
the decision that you were going to do something, and then things fell into place.
Yeah, that's what my mentees and all the people that work for me, they're scared of me because I'm so action driven. They're like they like Tony, you don't think you just do it. Like, look, action. Action is the key to life. Like everything, I really believe everything will fall in place if you just take footsteps. Take footsteps. You don't wait. The faith without work is dead. If you put yourself in a situation, either two things are gonna happen: sink or swim. I sink plenty times, and I soar and I swim plenty times, and so that's the way. Look, I'm not a Harvard student. I'm not any of that. That's the only way I could have got to where I'm at today because I had to take a leap of faith. I had to put everything in God's hands. That's where faith come in. Faith is the biggest key, and I just put everything in faith.
I guarantee you there's some Harvard students out there who haven't started a business yet or haven't chased their dreams because they're sitting there over analyzing what if, what if, what if.
Hmm 100%, man. There's the what if is just doing it, and then you'll find out. If I fail, I will feel 100% okay knowing that I did it, knowing that I put it out there, knowing that I gave it my all, and I can rest if I fail. If I, you know, I can sleep at night. But if I just don't do it, it's gonna be in the back of my mind, and I will not sleep at all. If I have any task in my like any little business task or any little thing I have to do, I literally lose sleep over until I get it done. And so I just don't. I just act. Of course, now I'm learning how to take a step back think now that I know how the universe work, now I know how God work. I don't have to take so much action all the time. Now I get to just think about it and then don't hold on it, then still take action.
Yeah. One of the other things that's really impressed me about you is kind of I don't want to say in the short time you've been in business, but the maturity level of realizing also the flip side when something's not working and not wasting your efforts on it anymore, right?
Yeah, one of my business coaches I worked with, Michelle Blakely, she taught me two words called course correction because when I opened my second location, man, it was kicking my butt, man. I was failing. I would have drove myself broke because I didn't get loans. I didn't do anything. I just like I did the first gym. I figured I could do the same thing with the second gym, but it wasn't right for me. It wasn't a good it wasn't a good timing. It wasn't a great community for me. It just wasn't my time to have my second location. And once 3 years later, almost 3 years, she talked me into shutting it down, and I felt like a quitter. I was like, I can't shut it down, but I was losing sleep. I was struggling because my other business was keeping me afloat, but I was losing money because I was pouring into that business. And I just did not want to quit. I wanted to see it grow. And then, but soon as she spoke sense, as soon as she gave me this book called "You're a Badass at Making Money," what about Jen Sincero, and I read it, and it was all about not like knowing when to close, knowing when to quit, knowing how to quit, knowing that those words, course correction, is not quitting. That's when I actually shut it down. The landlord was really cool. He let me shut the gym down without no overpay. He said, as long as you find somebody to take over the lease, you're good. And everything just worked out. And then that moment, a week later, that's when top elite NFL players start hitting me up. Amari Cooper called me saying he want to start training. Then Michael Parson called me saying he want to train. And now I train a lot of the NFL players. I just picked up Razul Douglas yesterday, 2 days ago, and I just picked up so many other NFL players. And also, I'm the head coach of this new professional boxing league called Team Combat League, TCL, and it's like a team-based boxing. It's like high-level professional boxers where they get paid and it's on national TV. And I'm the G general manager. I got hired as a general manager this year and the head coach of the team, and we're winning. And it's like life happens because that wasn't for me, and I still get to keep my other gym. My the other gym was running on its own, and I get to just do so many things outside the gym.
And so that's why I love your mindset, your mentality, like your positivity, because there are so many people who would have latched onto that one failure and felt like they failed. Whereas you see it from the other side of all the doors it opened up, because not
Mhm.
everything we do in life is going to be successful. No one hits a home run every time. It's impossible.
100%. One of my friends said something like a year or two before I opened my gym. I remember him saying it to me. He was like, man, I'm just keep picking up these little bitty pebbles, man. He said, I got a handful of pebbles, and then when the big rock come, I have no room for it. I thought about that. I was like, okay. I had all these little bitty pebbles trying to be the entrepreneur, trying to pick up little bitty things, and then when a big rock come, I have nothing for it, so I have to let those pebbles go and take on these big rocks that God had for me. I don't know if that makes sense. Did I say that
No, you
right?
know what? I was with you because
Okay.
I'm working on a different project for somebody else, and said it in a different way. Is you've got to balance what you say yes to and what you say no to, because you don't want to be the person that always says no to everything, because then no
hmm
one's going to ever offer you anything. But you
hmm
also can't say yes to everything, because then when the opportunities come along, you have no capacity for it.
100%.
Right? It's finding that, and again, one of the things I love is you have been blessed to design this life around your biggest passion, around
Yeah.
boxing. You've been boxing fitness. You've got a boxing gym. A lot of people would have left the sport and gone and sold cars.
Yeah, I didn't want to do anything outside of boxing. If I have any opportunity to have something to do with boxing, I would try it out. Like I got a new clothing apparel company now, do the boxing for my gym. I TCL, personal training, mentorship through boxing, mentor my boxers. There's promotion companies, mentoring fighters, training elite fighters, traveling around the United States, traveling around the world with fighters. There's so many things I could do. Boxing is the core passion, and then I have these incomes, so many different incomes attached to boxing. Boxing is the core. All these incomes is around boxing, but it's all still boxing connected.
That is incredible. So number one, for anyone who's listening, if you want to find out more about that, go get Tony's book. You have it there with you, Tony?
Defeat to destiny. Defeat is a part of the lightness in the way. So yeah, right here, defeat the destiny. Um,
You're perfect right there, right
right
there.
there, yep. Defeat the destiny, guys. It's coming out soon. It should be out on Amazon soon, and the hard copy's coming out soon. I just got this is my first copy I got, and it's so surreal. It's amazing. This is a blessing. And thank you, Matt, for all the work we've done on this book together, man. Me and you was together for a year straight, like putting in work. Thank
And I tell you, this is still one of my favorite projects, and I don't say that lightly. Just your energy is infectious,
you.
and I know all of the good that book is going to do in the world, which is kind of one of my like. I won't work with you unless I feel there's going to be some positive repercussions. So, in your own words, tell them what made you decide. Right, you're a successful businessman. You've got the gyms. You're training elite athletes. You didn't need to spend an hour a week with me writing a book. You could
I
have
did
used that
not.
hour a week doing any other things that were any number of things that were generating you income. Why did you feel it was important to write this book?
Because I feel my story will help so many young men, so many athletes, so many entrepreneurs, so many people who just looking for hope. So many people that had so many setbacks in life and not knowing how to deal with those setbacks. And this book is a game plan to deal with those setbacks. And I feel that my story will get in the right hands and change lives. And I won't be giving back to the world if I didn't write this book. And that'd be selfish of me not to share my story because there's some kid out there that's struggling in school. There's some kid out there hanging with the wrong crowd. There's some kid out there that's just a good spirited person, but just don't know how to channel their energy. Don't know how to take that energy and put it in the right places. They put it into the wrong places, and this book is gonna help them do it the right way.
Absolutely. There's some young person out there who's being told they're too old to do something. They're not athletic enough to do something. Instead of shining the light on what is possible.
100%. That's what this book is for. This is why I wrote this book.
Yeah, oh my God. And this is why we had you on the podcast today, Tony. One, because I wanted it to coincide with roughly when it was coming out. And two, to really just illustrate to anyone out there in our audience at Penn Podcast who's thinking of writing a book, who may be going through that imposter syndrome of no one wants to hear what I have to say, or who am I to share my story. Tony is living proof of why there's something that we have all gone through that someone can learn from.
100% because I was afraid of writing this book. I was like, who want to listen to me? Who want to read my book? Who want to read my story? And one day, one of my really good friends, Brian Burton, he called me. He said that Tony, it's time. I was like, time for what? He was like, it's time, man. He's like, man, I've been seeing what you've been doing, man. You're an inspiration to others. He said, it's time for you to write a book. And then that's when I really, it was, I felt passionate about it. So sometimes if I don't have a core feeling in my stomach or I'm not passionate about something, I won't do it. I won't give it my efforts. But this time, it was around the time where I was trying to figure out what's next in life. And that's when I said, let's do it. And so I did research. I went on LinkedIn. That's how I found Michelle, my publisher, and she introduced me to you, and then everything just fell in place. And now we're here. It's over. It's done. I wrote my book, and the more we wrote the book, I was like, "Yo, we about to change the world." The more we guys start talking, and you start picking my brain, and then people start getting on podcast, and people start getting on Zoom with us, telling their story on how I helped them or them they helped me. I was like, "This book is about to change the world, or get in the right. If it could change one person's life, I don't care. It did it. I did my job."
Yeah, oh, I love that you said that. It made me think of the butterfly effect because for all you know, if you only change one person's life, but that person now becomes the person who changes 1,000 lives,
Mhm.
or you change 10 lives and they each change 10 lives, the magnified effect of sharing a positive message like yours is the reason I do what I do. Because if people didn't feel there was a way to tell their story because they weren't good writers or they just had never written a book before and it's a big scary task, there are so many incredible stories that wouldn't get told.
100%. I agree with you.
So, with that said, Tony, we're just about at time. I know the book is coming out in the next week or two ish.
Should be, yeah. Hopefully before Father's Day. Definitely before Father's Day. That'd be the best gift. Before graduation and Father's Day. That's my goal. So you can buy this book and give it to a student or give it to your father. This book is for young men, old men who don't know how to pivot in life. This is what it's for.
Oh my goodness! You know what? Before I finish your sales pitch for you, I actually for Father's Day, because if you think about the traditional father figure, your father is. I mean, this is a guide for anyone who maybe
Mhm.
is a parent and they're not sure what they should be doing with their kids. You were not raised in what people would call a opportunistic, but your father did everything he could to make sure that you had every opportunity in life and that you didn't. I mean, you still could have went down that path,
I could
but you
have.
made sure you had the fear of God in you and him to
Yeah,
not.
no, my pops, man, he was a he grew up in Chicago, South Side Chicago, man. He hung out with those guys. I'm not saying he did things, but he was a single man living his best life. But he made sure I never wanted for anything. He made sure that I was raised by his older sisters. His older sisters took care of me, and when I had to move back and forth to Chicago, while he was out doing his thing, but he made sure that I was well taken care of, and so he figured it out, man. And to this day, man, he's my good friend to this day, even though we don't have the best relationship because I'm so busy and he get upset at me because I don't have him included in everything. I'm like, Pops, chill out. You can't fly with me. This is a business trip. But he's like, I'm like, chill out, Pops. But he's a good man. God, thank God for him.
Yeah, and that I mean that's a perfect way to end this. So with a book coming out around Father's Day, if you've got a father in your life who you think could benefit from just words of inspiration and seeing what can be done, this book is for you. If you've got an athlete, a young person, an aspiring entrepreneur, there is something in Tony's book for everyone. Or if you just want to feel better on Tony's positivity. It's an easy read. He poured his heart into it. We're going to make sure the link for the pre-order is available in the show notes. So if anyone has any questions on where to find the book, if you can't figure out clicking the link, please reach out to us at the show or Matt at penforhirenyc.com. Our team will make sure we connect you with Tony, with the book, with Michelle over at Performance Publishing, or anyone else involved in this process to get you some more insight. Tony, if you could end with one word of wisdom for that young man who's in your situation 20, 30 years ago who wants to do something with their life, what would it be?
Life have no limitations. The only limitation is the ones you put out on yourself, the ones that you give yourself. So don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything. Just feel it in your gut and go after any goal, any dream you want. Never give up. And failing is okay. Fail forward. Nothing's wrong with it because you're gonna win if you continue to fail. So just keep going. Keep stepping.
Amazing. Amazing. Tony, thank you so much. Everyone at home, thank you so much. You just spent this time on the Penn Podcast with Matt Harms and the one and only Tony Mack. We will catch you all in the next episode and go buy Tony's book.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tony.